welcome to Gaining Vision. I'm Melanie. Thanks so much for clicking. To my returning family, the visionaries, thank you for your continuous love and support. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please feel at home. If you enjoy my content, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and please don't forget to like and share. Have you had an opportunity to listen to this week's new podcast on the EFF YouTube channel? If not, I encourage you to check it out. This week, Titus interviewed the former public protector, who is the newest member of the EFF. It was great. I was finally able to see how Titus was as an interviewer and how he set the stage for conversation. And that's exactly what happened. They had a conversation.
Joining me in studio today is the former public protector, Mkhwebane, and she's here with me. Greetings, Advocate Mkhwebane, and welcome to the EFF podcast.
Thank you so much, Ntsaku. I'll call you Ntsaku. I love that name.
Yes,
thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you very much. We really appreciate you making time for us here. So officially, you are a ground force.
I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk us through
definitely,
that. Yeah. Talk us through that. Why did you join the EFF?
I joined the EFF because when checking their 7 cardinal pillars,
yes,
they were very much, I could relate to them. Actually, as the former public protector, my work, actually not from my work, but then when I was interviewed for the position, I remember I said I would want to help South Africans, especially the poor, the marginalized, actually to deal with triple challenges and inequality. And I remember the deputy president of the EFF currently was asking, why do you speak like that? Are you a politician? And I said no, because I know that our people are facing a lot of struggles, and I would be helping them as the public protector, to contribute to the fight against oppression. So when I checked the 7 cardinal pillars of EFF, I mean the nationalization of the mines, the banks, the expropriation of land and without compensation, building state capacity, the issue of the inequality as far as education is concerned. I mean, even to this day, what's worse is that we've got 2 streams or 2 systems. I mean, there's the national certificate, and then there's this other one which for the private schools. And I think we need a situation where there's equality. We need a situation where every child... Free education,
as well.
Indeed. Free healthcare.
True.
Quality. Not just the situation where it's free, but when you go to the clinic or hospital, there's no even a panado. So the issue of human settlement, I mean, the issue of people being provided with dignified human settlement or houses. So the biggest one was then looking at the my experience, and I said I can contribute, and especially on the issue of dealing with issues of corruption. And I mean, as a public protector, one has been doing that for the past 7 years.
True. And we are more than happy to have you as a member, because the organization is going to benefit enormously with your experience as the public protector and all. And there's been a hullabaloo. People, criticizing you for joining the EFF. How are you handling the backlash?
You know what? I'm even not worried about the noise which is there. In Ndebele sithi umuntu akasi imali angeke uthandwe ngumuntu nomuntu.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes.
So Section 19 of the Constitution is very clear. I mean, I'm a South African citizen. I have the right to choose, join any political party, even establish my own political party.
Yes.
So I'm exercising my right as a South African citizen, and I had to wait for my term to officially end. And now I am free.
It flowed so smoothly, and I learned so very much. I felt that this was an opportunity for the former public protector to be able to share her side of the story. I had always heard the media's side and how she had done so much and how she was being impeached and all these things. But this time I got to listen to her perspective. As the interview progressed, it unfolded, and she shared a lot of her experiences as public protector, some of the cases that she was trying in areas of corruption, things that were happening, what she was able to do and what she wasn't able to do. She talked extensively about the Phala Phala report.
And I want to talk about the impartiality of the Office of the Public Protector. You'd know about the Phala Phala report, 191 pages. And it exonerated Ramaphosa of any wrongdoing, that he did not breach any executive ethics code. Do you think that investigation was handled without fear or favor in the best interest of the people of South Africa?
Definitely not. I think the way the investigation was conducted, it was so, because there was actually before then Chief Justice Ngobo and Judge Masipa and Advocate Matlape, SC. They collated all the information and the evidence again from the ATM and other political parties. They said he has a prima facie to answer.
Yes.
The very same president acknowledged in Limpopo that,
Yes,
I sell
during
cattle.
the conference of the ANC, yes.
I sell, and there was a time where he was addressing the ANCYL Society. I'm the president of the ANCYL Society. This is my passion. Actually, I don't like the other part. Now, when the complaint was lodged, I issued those 31 questions, the famous 31 questions.
Yes.
And again, trying to make sure that we investigate the matter speedily so that there's no dark cloud hanging over him and we deal with the matter quickly. Then the following day I was suspended. I mean, he couldn't even wait for the court to issue the judgment about me interdicting his suspension. Well, he sent a letter intending to suspend me. Coming forward, then I'm on suspension. The investigation is done. The report is issued. The report is riddled with a lot of flaws because in terms of Section 96 of the Constitution, it's very clear. As an executive, it doesn't say you must have a conflict or you must. And Wes, you were speaking about the Busasa, people who donated. Indeed, those who donated, a lot of them got contracts in government. And even the president benefited because he was the deputy president and he became the president because of the donations and the funding. That report indeed has a lot of flaws. It's good that as a public protector you operate without favor. You need to be impartial, and as well as a public protector, it's impossible for you to even abuse your powers. You don't have unfettered powers because people have a right to take you on review.
Yes.
And it's a democracy, that's how it operates. But unfortunately, with me, it was like pointing at me or as if I'm the one, firstly, who conducts the investigations, which I don't.
You're just doing your work.
Actually, I don't even conduct the investigations.
Yeah.
It's done by the senior investigators. So when you come and say you are factional or you are impartial, it means everyone who touched that investigation is also factional, or I have imposed on them that this is how you will be finding, and of which is not the case, because I will guide and say, but did you look at this? Get evidence on this, get evidence on this. So I think that report was not properly done.
Then talked about her own struggles and situations she went through and her protection of her safety and having to move into a safe, secure state house, and how she had ups and downs in her career as public protector. It is a big responsibility after all. She then talked about how the impeachment case went against her and what it was like, and how she felt that even although she had 5 challenges or accusations against her to prove her incompetency, she only was able to testify and comment on 2 out of the 5. She said that she wasn't given a fair opportunity, and she talked about the fact that she had been also withdrawn the opportunity to have an attorney present. it was interesting to hear her perspective and how she went through this whole process, as because I had been watching it from the coverage in the Parliament. So hearing the other side of what she was going through was a very eye-opening experience.
Yeah, and your first impression on the establishment of the Section 194 inquiry, which investigated your unfitness to hold office. I know you had issues with the chairperson, Janti. What was your initial impression of that inquiry?
Remember when the process started in 2020?
Yes.
In February, Mazon lodging that motion, and I had to be the one who's educating the then Speaker, Thandi Modise, to say, no, you cannot just directly do this. You need rules. Then they stopped, they went back, and we said, you need rules, and you cannot persecute me or deal with issues which happened prior me charging me. Then they had to find a way to get somebody within the office, Hamilton Samuel, who assaulted the old man from Mr. Siabi. And then Mr. Siabi won the case. Samuel was found guilty for assault. And then Mr. Siabi was suing Samuel, but suing the institution. That's when I discovered there's something like this.
Okay.
So Samuel then thought I am paging him or something like that. And then he went to in cahoots with Abu Mazon. Then they brought the charges.
Yes.
And when they brought the charges, then they added the HR-related issues. Judgment was still pending by then. But then they proceeded. They then appointed the judges, Upesi Nkabinde, Ntsebeza, some advocate Duval. Then they said, I've got a prima facie case to answer. We queried the appointment of a judge. And that matter actually is pending AAU commission, because I at the Constitutional Court, it was thrown out, and then finally I took it there.
Yeah.
So my issue was, I indicated that I'm participating under protest, and it was very clear from the beginning.
Yes.
Then we continued. 18 to 20 witnesses were called, testified orally. And after 23, 24 witnesses, including mine, it was my turn now to testify. Actually, before then I lodged the application for Umailham. I discovered Umailham is actually through the EFF, Honorable Maud, where I said,
yes.
But did you declare that you are the husband to Mazon? Then how am I supposed to sit there?
So from the onset, the process was unfair.
It was unfair. And worse, when they started the process, the rules they said they are dealing with the Mazon motion. Now entertaining everything, I was blamed with how you were delaying the process. Who yibo about delay the process, and calling all the staff members to come and testify about things which it was like now a CCMA process. But we are here now. That matter is pending a SCA. Yoguti, the husband of Mazon, was one of the deciding persons. Ujanji himself was very biased. We could prove Uguti. When I appeared before the Portfolio Committee, he even said it before, which I'm incompetent in everything. He's appointed. And I discovered lately, Uguti, he was one of the campaign's managers during the CIGAR 17 process.
Oh.
So all these things were, West,
so him being appointed to chair the inquiry was sort of a handshake. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So now I want us to look at the allegations about the bribes, because there were bribes. There were allegations about the bribes. How far? I understand there was a case that was opened.
Yes, my husband opened a case of extortion, bribery. That matter is still being investigated, and I think we will have to follow up on that particular matter. And the good thing is that we will still have to go back to the very same public protector to, if they are delaying to investigate, for them to fast track that investigation. The other issue is that, you remember, I lodged a complaint with the Ethics Committee. They then came back and said Janji and Majordina well exonerated. West, they didn't even acquire the recordings from me. but in their judgment or in their outcome, they said they've listened to those recordings. If you listen to the recordings, I don't know how many times the late Tina Jumat-Peterson saying, Janji and Majorina are angry. They were not appointed as ministers. They came and said, pay them 200,000 each. PME is very greedy. Will want money.
And I remember the TG Commissar Umphile Mawutwe argued that, in fact, Janti must be recused from that inquiry, and then, they insisted.
We requested that he must recuse himself. He refused. And we then said, because he was saying, no, you must even bring the application.
Yes.
That process was so riddled with a lot of unfairness, illegality. And Tina Jumat-Peterson said, no, now, because they are blaming Janji that he's moving slow, they are going to change. They are no longer going to testify orally. Because I only defended myself on 2 charges. I was still going to defend myself on 3 charges. That was never allowed. They proceeded, they withdrew my attorneys, Chane attorneys, in cahoots with the CEO of Public Protector South Africa, Ms. Spanyoni, and Advocate Galega, the acting PP, and frustrating my issues. And, they withdrew legal representation. So it was just,
and I understand the Advocate Dalimpofu Senior Counsel has been your legal representing. They've been providing legal representation throughout. Do you think they fought a good fight? I understand the outcomes, obviously, they have been somehow orchestrated by the establishment. But do you think they have, fought a good fight?
Hey, they did more than what they were expected to do, and being abused by the very same portfolio committee, and especially their colleague who Advocate Bauer and Mayosi, splashing all their legal fees. And especially because when I was the public protector, I had to make sure as well that, it's one thing to say you are dealing with empowering Black legal professionals, is another to just have a lip service. So for me, it was part of the process to contribute in changing the status quo. And they had to splash their legal fees. They had to treat them with disdain and it was so painful to watch as well how the members of the Section 194 were treating them. So I must also indicate that Advocate Dalimpofu and Advocate Matlape and Shabalala, they are insulting him sometimes and say, he's eating all the monies and everything. In a number of cases which were brought before court, they did them pro bono. Even now with the appeal with SCA regarding Umailham no Janji, they will, as advocates, they will say, we can do it. Yes, possibly whatever you will find, pay the attorneys.
Yes, and I must say outrightly, the EFF also, as well, has been providing legal assistance to some of the cases that you have been, taken to court. And the EFF has always been rallying behind you, showing maximum support.
Yeah. One of the cases is that one of SARS.
The rogue unit.
The so-called rogue unit. They also then took it to court. I mean, EFF, even during my predecessor's time, the Nkandla, remember, they are the ones who took it to court.
Yes.
Which is good, because then if there's any issue to be interpreted, or then there's questions, questionable issues which needs clarity, it was fine to take it to court. But unfortunately, with the courts, I was treated differently. And a lot of judgments, not a lot, few judgments. I mean, it was only 5 judgments or court judgments which I had to be charged for and be said to be incompetent, relying on the judgments. And we've proved on the 2 Busasa and the so-called rogue unit that the judges were even themselves wrong. They reached their judgments on wrong facts and things which were not even on the report. Being accused on things that you said in your report you never saw. this particular OIG report, whereas there's nowhere in my report where I'm saying that.
And that proves that you were actually persecuted for fighting against the establishment.
A lot. I mean, my persecution started with the Reserve Bank matter. Remember that matter even reached the Constitutional Court, and also on wrong facts. Judge Sisi Kampempe and Theron, they then said I must even pay personal costs doing my work. Yes, and then a Pejari case was opened. And now
that you faked the whole thing.
Exactly, and it was not the case. Being accused by our judge, Justice Jafta, that I changed the executive ethics code, I invented my own. The very same code which the very same Constitutional Court decided on that during the Nkandla judgment. So there's a number of inconsistencies which happened when it comes to me. Now the corruption issues, I'm bringing all the evidence. People are blaming us. That, but why are you saying this? But in a nutshell, it's all in the fight for the liberation of the poor, the oppressed, and the marginalized.
Yes.
She really felt strongly that the EFF had always been supportive. And I like the fact that Titus would share his comments with it, but not bias, and just share his perspective. And she spoke to her truth. She wasn't swayed by what Titus was saying, but spoke how she felt. As she continued on in this conversation, and that's what it is, a conversation, I loved it, she also talked about many different aspects. Titus slid a few questions in there, it made me smile. Of course, asking about her relationship with the former President Zuma. That was so nice, that she was very humble and honest to say that originally, when she was hearing everything going on in the media about what he had done, she thought he needed to be held accountable. And she said how the media would say it over and over again to the point she believed it. But she knew she was wrong, because she said once she met him and actually listened to what he was saying and what he was doing, she realized there was a totally different side to this. She said, in fact, that she learned a lot after many encounters with him as a public protector. Titus asked, do you think that he should join the EFF? And she said, absolutely, I think he should. But she also talked about that perhaps he won't, because he, as a former president, receives benefits. So maybe he won't give those up. But who knows what will happen with that. Titus also slid in a question about the new public protector and who she thought should be the public protector. She talked about the relationship with the public protector and her, and how it evolved over time and started to deteriorate as she was public protector. But she did say that the ANC has appointed her, so we'll see how she does. But she feels that the public protector should be somebody who has a lot of experience in administrating the law, and that this particular public protector wasn't quite there yet. She also mentioned that she has something hovering over her head because she's now known as the president's protector. But she wished her good luck and said they'll wait and see.
As a parting shot, your relationship with the acting PP?
I worked with her when Parliament appointed her. Because remember, I don't appoint the Deputy Public Protector. Parliamentary process takes its course. When she arrived, we worked. I was delegating whatever work, but then she then showed her true colors almost towards the end, when there was that issue of the hearing things through the grapevine, Ubanu Abramji, saying no, that this is going to be the judgment which is going to be delivered on one of the matters, and then she distanced herself and all those. Then things started to go haywire. Her behavior during my persecution, something else. Currently, she lied in Parliament about me owing 2 million and all those, which I don't think it's fair and proper.
Titus also finally wanted to know her perspective on what was going to happen in her legal cases, wanting to know how she was going to fight for her pension, and she spoke her truth that she's going to continue to fight because she knows what is right. The final question before he bid her adieu was actually is her experience as a mediator and what her thoughts and ideas were with Israel and Palestine. She spoke her truth and said that, of course, mediation is the best way. What I loved about this conversation is I learned a lot about the former PP, what she has to bring to the table, not only as EFF, member of EFF, but also as a human being. She's well educated, she has great experience and expertise, and she shared it so authentically. She was truly herself. She had that conversation. I thought she felt very at ease with Titus, and she finally got her to have her say. I'd love to hear your perspectives and thoughts. After listening to this podcast, drop your comments below and let's have a conversation. Were your opinions the same as mine? I'd love to hear it. Until next time, please don't forget to hit that notification button, like and share, and we'll see you later. Bye.